Call the special regular council meeting of May the 22nd to order. There is an agenda in front of you with an added late item, which will be item number 5C. And with that addition, I would entertain a motion to accept. Councillor Randawa, Councillor Forrester, any other additions, deletions? All in favor? Any opposed? It is carried. We now move on to public comment from the opportunity for the public to make comment on any item that's on the agenda. Again, we'll emphasize that it cannot include anything about bylaw number 3531 or 3533, which were subject to the public hearing. There's not a scramble for the microphone, so I will move along. We have reports. Report from the Director of Development Services with regards to small-scale multi-unit housing legislation, zoning amendment bylaw number 3536 and 3539. They will be coming up under bylaws under 6F and H. There is a recommendation that council proceed with consideration. Can I have a motion to that effect? Councillor Cunningham, Councillor Skelton Morven. Any discussion, comments, questions? Councillor Adey.
Yes, I'm wondering whether this is the best time to ask a couple of questions
No, absolutely.
about this, or
yep.
whether you want to wait for later.
But,
nope. I'm, as I understand it, this is mandated very much. I think it says local governments are required to, and so there's not a lot of
correct
flex room here. So I'm seeking some advice on where there might be a little bit of flex room. In particular, I'm looking at the section on page 9, the development permits for form and character. So I get that there's not much discretion, and I understand and actually support the intention, which is to do what we can to relieve the housing shortage. So I don't really have issue with the principle of the thing. Where I think new buildings or changed buildings get in trouble in a community is when they are clearly out of sync with the character of the surroundings. I can think I know in my own neighborhood there's been a couple of new buildings in the last, I don't know, 5 to 10 years, and I would say that one of them was remarkably sensitive in terms of design, and it fits right in, and you know, it really enhances the neighborhood. Another one maybe not quite so successfully, and attracted a different kind of attention as a result. So I see then that with reference to that, the province is actually discouraging us from taking any action that might seek to affect the aesthetics of a building as it's constructed. So it says local governments are discouraged from using development permit areas to control the form and character of the developments. It specifically notes regulations related to neighborhood character, etc., are restrictive, and so they're discouraging it. And so under our proposal, we're recommending that we accept these guidelines as recommended, but offer an alternative. The province recommends that local governments consider producing a set of voluntary, non-regulatory design guidelines. So I guess my question, only a little bit tongue-in-cheek, is are there ways for us within our powers to incentivize that spirit of voluntarism? In other words, what elements of design and character do we still have any control over? So that's my first question.
There you go. Dr. Buchan.
Your Worship, it may be a clarification before I defer this to Director Pope. I'm wondering if the word is encourage or incentivize.
I guess the word is whatever might work.
Yeah.
Your Worship, I will pass this over to Director Pope to speak to.
Director Pope.
Thank you, Your Worship. So with the development permit areas removed, that is our primary mechanism for regulating what's called form and character. As noted in the report, this currently applies to 3 and 4 unit plus. For multifamily, the Local Government Act does not permit us to regulate form and character of single family homes. And so the rationale is laid out there. What we could, the voluntary guidelines is, as you've noted, something that the province has recommended. And there are a couple other opportunities to incentivize. So some municipalities across the province have adopted standard designs of homes, and that allows a lower cost, an existing design that you can adopt. Now that would, include budgeting for paying for those designs and to be distributed, but that is something that some municipalities are doing. The province is developing standardized housing designs. They put an RFP out for that in the last few months, and those may be released widely and available to across the province. That is something that the city could adopt. In terms of encouraging, staff are able to encourage that at the building permit stage. At the building permit stage, there's a lot of input that goes into developing a new build, including site servicing, access requirements, all of those standards that are there, and that those conversations can happen at that stage as well. And incentivizing is always another opportunity. Waiving building permits for certain form and character designs could potentially be a possibility. So it's something that staff could take away and brainstorm as well.
So for clarity, these would be measures above and beyond the bylaw that we're
That's correct.
contemplating
Yeah.
tonight. Okay, thank you. Councillor Adey.
Thanks. I guess the notion of provincial standardization, it seems to me, be very difficult to take into account the difference between the Pine Ridge area and 4th Avenue East and have the same standards apply. However, that seems to be where we're at. My second question is with respect to a memorandum that Director Pucci wrote as an addendum to this, and basically acknowledging the mandatory elements of this this initiative. He does say at the end, though, items embedded within the program are within our control. And I guess I'm interested in a little bit of elaboration on what items might be embedded that are within our control.
Dr. Pucci, Dr. Buchan, I'll go to Director Pucci.
Thank you, Your Worship. What I was referring to was what's in the memo here. So things like access requirements, servicing requirements, and parking in here have been noted as flagged for the operations department to review, and we can put in more controls in place and look at things like development cost charges and other things like that to make sure that our infrastructure, access, parking requirements are well funded and controlled. Thank you.
Excellent. Any other comments or questions? Again, as Councillor Adey has pointed out, a number of the bylaws that we're reviewing tonight are specifically driven by changes to provincial legislation, and it was noted last meeting by Dr. Buchan, but it's worth repeating. Staff has done an amazing job to review all these. This is a massive amount of work that many municipalities have not been able to complete in the required time, and so we're being very well served. With that, then, I would ask all in favor. Any opposed? It is carried. All right, the next item up is a report from the Director of Development Services with regards to the civic address bylaw number 3537 with a recommendation that council proceed with consideration. Can I have a motion to that effect? Councillor Forrester, Councillor Randawa. Any questions or comments from council? Councillor Cunningham.
If you have one lot between two existing addresses and somebody's going to put a fourplex on that, how are you going to deal with that?
Did you watch any of the Harry Potter series? There was, station, whatever it was, 17 and a half or whatever it was. Yeah. No, that won't work for you. Director Pope.
Thank you, Your Worship. So the civic addressing bylaw is intended directly to address issues like that, recognizing that there over time will be more infill density within existing neighborhoods. So depending on whether that would be a stratified fourplex, for example, there would be specific numbering required on that. If it's accessory dwelling units, then they would use a lettering system to signify the accessory dwelling units.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? All in favor? Any opposed? It is carried. We then have the late item number 5C, which is a request for an award of a contract with regards to the Prince Rupert Landfill Phase 1 closure, with a recommendation that council award the City of Prince Rupert ITT 24009 Prince Rupert Landfill Phase 1 closure to West Horizon Contracting. Can I have a motion to that effect? Councillor Cunningham, Councillor Niche. Any questions or comments? Councillor Cunningham.
My usual one, hire local contractors. Is there any clauses in here that they will go to local contractors or hire local first?
Director
before they go
Pucci.
to town?
Thank you, Your Worship. No, that's not in the documents, in the contract documents. We went out on BC bid, and it was out to everybody, including local contractors, and we went after the lowest one, which was about $1 million lower than the second bid. So we decided to go with that one. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? All in favor? Any opposed? It is carried. We then move on to bylaws. We begin with bylaw number 3531 with a recommendation that council gives third reading to the City of Prince Rupert rezoning amendment bylaw number 3531. And for the sake of those that haven't got the data in front of them, this is the one that was the subject of the public hearing earlier that would see rezoning to allow the Belmont Beer and Wine Store, or liquor store rather, to locate in what was the old Daily News building. Can I have a motion, please? Councillor Forster, seconded Councillor Adey. Any comments, questions? Councillor Cunningham.
Well, we only had one dissenting comment, and as the person that sponsored the 1 kilometer rule for Prince Rupert, that was more to keep the beer and wine sales out of big box stores. And in this letter it says the 1 kilometer rule policy is in place to help prevent the proliferation of liquor stores. Well, I find that a rather strange comment in opposing this, simply because we had 3 liquor stores downtown. We were down to 2, we're down to 1. There's no proliferation of more stores downtown. So I find this a rather a mute argument that, here we are worried about the proliferation of liquor stores downtown when we're already down 1. Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, I solidly support it.
Any other comments? All in favor? Oh, sorry, Councillor Adey.
And echo what Councillor Cunningham has said, but I would differ at least to the spirit of what was being asked by the dissent, and that was for time. in order for them to pursue a legal question. And I guess if I'm correct in my understanding, regardless of whether we chose to support this or not, that is likely to proceed, and its resolution is out of our control anyway. So I'm not sure. I guess I'd like to know if I'm interpreting it correctly. That the one has very little to do with what we're actually being asked to decide here.
Correct. Correct. This we're dealing with the city bylaw, which reflects the 1 kilometer separation. The province has their own legislation. They can go deal with that and quite frankly, we can pass this. And if the province turns around and says no, then the answer is no. They're the ultimate authority. But we're just dealing with the issue of what control the city has within its own bylaws. If the province changes its mind, then this evening's procedures are meaningless. And yet, on the flip side, they're not meaningless because we're sending a signal clearly. Does that make sense? Councillor 80.
I would just follow up. I think I said earlier at a previous meeting, perhaps in error, that I saw this as a restoration of a situation in the downtown retail area that wasn't problematic before, and I don't see why it would be problematic again. So, from my perspective, now I'm in support of this. And as you say, if the legal people arrive at a different conclusion, then so be it. But
Right. And I would add, I think it will be a welcome cleanup of a welcome addition to Second Avenue, main thoroughfare for the community to have a thriving business once again in what's been a vacant building for quite some time. So, Councillor Cunningham.
Just to add to that, a thriving business, but this is a business that's been very supportive of Prince Rupert in so many different ways, sponsoring so many different activities, whether it's golfing, curling, Seafest, things like that. And, it's been set aside sort of thing for almost 2 years. So it'd be nice to get them back up and running because they are a mainstay to a lot of activities in town, volunteer and sponsorship.
Good comment. Any other comments or questions? All in favor? Any opposed? It is carried. We move on to bylaw number 6B. It's the City of Prince Rupert Trade and Licensing Bylaw number 3532, with a recommendation that Council repeal third reading as at May the 6th, 2024, and replace third reading of the City of Prince Rupert Trade and Licensing Bylaw number 3532, 2024. Can I have a motion to that effect, please? Councillor Rondawa, Councillor Forster. Just for clarity, this was some discussion that council had that asked of staff to make a few changes to the bylaw before bringing it back, and so that's why we're repealing and replacing with the third reading. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Any opposed? It is carried. We move on to item number 6C, City of Prince Rupert Development Procedures Bylaw number 3533. Again, this is was subject of the public hearing just earlier this afternoon. Recommendation is that council give fourth and final reading to the City of Prince Rupert Development Procedures Bylaw number 3533, 2024. Can I have a motion to that effect? Councillors Cunningham and Niche. Any questions or comments? Councillor 80.
Just a correction. I don't think this was the one that was the
public
hearing. I think you're jumping ahead.
Did I jump one?
Oh, well, you didn't, but the public hearing was the one that comes next.
Thank you very much. You know what? Thank you very much. I literally did. I've got all this scrawl over my thing, and I jumped from one to the other. Thank you very much. Did I read the wrong one? I read the right one. We just, okay. Thank you very much. Okay. So here we are, back again. Any comments or questions on this bylaw? None. All in favor? Any opposed? It is carried. Thank you very much. We then move on to 6C, correct?
60, Mr. Mayor.
D,
6.
Delta. There we go. Oh, thank you very much. Okay. With a recommendation that council give fourth and final reading to the City of Prince Rupert Municipal Ticking Information Bylaw number 3534-2024. Thank you very much. Can I have a motion to that effect? Councillors Skelton, Morvan, and Niche. Any discussion, comments, questions? All in favor? Any opposed? It is carried. Item number E, City of Prince Rupert Rezoning Amendment Bylaw number 3535, with a recommendation that council gives third reading to the City of Prince Rupert Rezoning Amendment Bylaw number 3535-2024. Can I have a motion to that effect? Councillor Randhawa, Councillor Adey. Any discussion, comments, or questions? This has to do with short-term rentals, correct? This is the one from earlier. Yes, thank you. All right. Hearing none. All in favor? Any opposed? It is carried. We then have, okay, I'm really losing my place here. We are now on number E, right? 3535? Thank you.
6F.
The council gives third reading to the City of Prince Rupert Rezoning Amendment Bylaw number 3535. That's the recommendation.
Mr. Mayor, 3536.
The next one. Okay. Okay. City of Prince Rupert Zoning Amendment Bylaw number 3536. Right? Number F. The council introduce and gives first, second, third reading to the City of Prince Rupert Zoning Amendment Bylaw number 3536. Can I have a motion to that effect? Councillors Forrester, Councillors Adey. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? It's carried. All right. Item number G, City of Prince Rupert Civic Address Bylaw number 3537, with a recommendation that council introduce, give first, second, third reading to the City of Prince Rupert Civic Address Bylaw number 3537. Can I have a motion to that effect? Councillor Randhawa, Councillor Adey. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? It is carried. Finally, we have item number 6H, which is the City of Prince Rupert Zoning Amendment Bylaw number 3539 that council introduce and give first, second, and third reading to the City of Prince Rupert Zoning Amendment Bylaw number 3536. Can I have a motion to that?
3539, Mr. Mayor.
Wow. What? It is 3539. What did you put in my water?
You told me it was gin.
All right. 3539 2024, which is the parking amendments. All right. Can I have a motion to that effect, please? Councillor Cunningham and Niche. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? It is carried. Huh, got through that. All right. Item number 7. We are at reports, questions, inquiries from members of council. Councillor Forster.
Mr. Mayor, I'm wondering if there's any update on what's happening with the 6th Avenue Bridge.
Dr. Buchan?
I'll defer to Director Pucci.
Director Pucci, 6th Avenue Bridge.
Thank you, Your Worship. So all of the materials have been ordered and we're just waiting for them to get delivered. As soon as they're delivered, we will be commencing immediately. We know that we want to have it done for the school season this year. We hope that to have materials here within 2 weeks. Thank you.
Councillor Adey.
In the spirit of updates, is there any new update or understanding of when the final numbers for the RBA settlement are going to come out so we can have our discussions about what to do with it?
No, is the simplest answer. Government is doing their piece, and we have not. Dr. Buchan, have you heard anything further? No, there's been no further update. we are anticipating soon, but soon is a very slippery term. Any other reports? Councillor Niche.
I just wanted to pass on some condolences to the Priste family. As obviously your neighbor and longtime Rupert resident, promoter of the town, and longtime resident.
Yeah. Thank you, Councillor Niche. Couple of things. I believe that this week is Public Works Week, and I want to acknowledge our Public Works. I think we have an amazing Public Works department. They, I don't think the public will ever fully appreciate what they have to do to keep the current state of affairs operating. But I can tell you that in my tenure as mayor, both this time and last, I've seen the men and women of Public Works working in some of the most extreme conditions to ensure that when we wake up in the morning, either our toilet flushes or our water runs so we can bathe our babies, or that the streets are cleared, or whatever those things are that they do. Former city manager always joked that he was going to write a book and title it "It Never Snows," or "It Only Snows on Overtime." And I think that's that's the way it is in Public Works. Anyway, so I want to acknowledge them, and then I also want to give a shout out to we recently learned that our MLA will be not seeking re-election, and we'll have a chance later to celebrate with her, I hope. And we have every intention of keeping her busy until her very last moment in office. But I can say without any fear of contradiction in this room that she has been an amazing ally for us in provincial affairs, and that some of the successes we've celebrated here in this room and around this table have come directly because of her strong efforts on behalf of Prince Rupert and the residents of Prince Rupert. Councillor Cunningham.
On that note, when we were at UBCM pestering all the ministers and that about the federal grant that we did receive for $77 million and the 65, that meeting that Jennifer set up. Jennifer did a lot in the background, and people used to say, "Oh, she's doing nothing, she's doing nothing." But a lot of our successes, as you just said, were because she did the groundwork for us. And there wasn't a minister we didn't meet where they didn't say, "Oh yeah, Jennifer's kept us in the loop. Yeah. Jennifer's done this, Jennifer's done that." Yeah. She opened a lot of doors for us. Yeah. And I don't think a lot of people realize that because they're not there in the front line where we were. And last UBCM, when staff had given us pictures of every Treasury Board member and every MLA that was of significant importance to lobby, and I think towards the end of that, they were sick and tired of seeing people from Prince Rupert, but every one of them had said, "Well, yeah, we've talked to Jennifer, we know all about it."
Yeah. All right. If there's nothing else, Dr. Buchan, anything else that you want to report from your end? With that, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. Councillor Forrester, Councillor Randawa, all in favor? Any opposed? It is carried. Meeting is adjourned.